I ruined my ex's life, and I'm proud of it. I, 28M, and my ex GF, 30F, were dating for about 8 months. Everything was all good and well when we started dating. The first 3 months were good. For context, I'm not one to entertain other women, if I'm honest. Since I was in a relationship, any woman that tried anything with me would be shut down almost instantly. Yes, I have a few friends who are women, but we don't necessarily hang out much. I wouldn't even initiate seeing them. After month 4, everything turned to shit. She became possessive of me and became so insecure about everything. First, it started off telling me I can't talk to them or checking my phone. I let her go with it, as I've got nothing to hide from her. I'm an open book. Yes, there will be porn in my search history, but that's standard for a guy's search history. There was really nothing to be of concern from my side of entertaining other women. I'm a loyal dude, so I wouldn't dare to break the trust we had. This was a constant, but to the point of being unbearable at times, where I would be paranoid of her finding the smallest of things. I knew there wasn't anything to hide, but just the smallest things would bring an argument, which I don't like doing. She knew I wasn't an arguer, so she'd use it to her advantage to get what she wants. One day, we were at my house watching movies till late. Every notification that lit up the screen of my phone, she'd want to check who or what it is. I just let her proceed, maybe thinking that something happened in a past relationship that maybe we haven't spoke about yet. Eventually, she unlocked my phone and started going through it. She went into WhatsApp, nothing to see there, went through all my DMs on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, even TikTok to see who I'm chatting to. Not a single thing was found. I then asked her if I could then see her phone since she's always going through mine. She hesitated, but handed me her phone. Back when we first started dating, she started talking about one of her old friends. For this sake, let's call him A. I'm not a jealous guy, so if you want to hang around whoever, I'll let you. Just know that there are boundaries not to cross. His chat was the first I went through, and there it was. The nudes they exchanged, the pictures and videos of them being intimate, and the message that stood out the most? Next time, come inside me. I'll take a plan B after. I just want the cream in me. I froze when I saw that. I then saw the date when the message was sent. 28th September, 2022. 2 weeks after we started dating. I closed WhatsApp and opened Instagram, just randomly scrolling while she looks at me with an uneasy look on her face. I handed her phone back to her with only Instagram open. She asked, "Did you find anything?" I said no. She almost gave me a look of relief and said, "I told you I'm faithful to you." I just nodded and smiled at her and said, "I'm glad." We continued the night as normal, yet I couldn't get the picture out of my head of someone else banging my girlfriend. I kept on thinking of a plan to get her back. Eventually, she fell asleep on my lap. Once I knew she was sleeping, I started going through her phone, forwarding screenshots and the media to my phone. I deleted the media I sent to my chat from her phone. So I had all the evidence on my side. From that day, I was emotionally and mentally clocked out of our relationship. I completed the first part of it. I couldn't sleep that night because I was plotting something big. Eventually, 2 months later, I confronted her about it. After having the most amazing sex fest with her, I asked her why she cheated 2 weeks into our relationship. She tried to play it off cool, but she knew she was caught. She stumbled over her words and couldn't get herself back out of it. Eventually, she broke down and started crying, begging me to stay. As once I told her to hand her phone to me so I can show her the messages, she freaked out. I got dressed and told her, "We're done." I walked out of there ice cold in my heart. My phone blew up with messages and calls from her to the point I turned my phone off. I got home, slept, and woke up the next morning with a bunch of messages from sad to confused to angry. I ignored them and carried on with life. I'm close with a few of her friends that messaged me and asked what had happened, and they claim that she doesn't know what happened. So I told them, ask her. She don't know exactly why. A month later, I ran into a few of her friends at a coffee shop that then invited me to join them for coffee and a slice of cake. I hesitated but accepted the invitation.
Once we all had our coffee, they proceeded to explain to me how miserable my ex was. I told them straight up that I don't give a damn and that she can carry on life without me. They all looked at me with disgust and anger, as that was their friend. Eventually, I told them what happened. They didn't want to believe it, but they don't know that their friend has been lying to them. I showed them the proof and the photos and videos. They all had a look of shock on their faces. The friend they all knew was keeping this from them to save her own dignity. I then thanked them for the coffee and I walked out of there, got in my car and went home. A couple hours later, my phone started blowing up again. Angry messages and calls flooded my phone. This time, I just let it ring and go to voicemail. I was quite close with one of her family members. We will call him N for this story. So N and I got along very well to the point where we used to hand out after the breakup. I called him up and told him that we need to speak about something. I drove to his house and spilled the beans that my ex had cheated. Here's the proof, and he was shocked. My ex that showed herself with modesty and kindness was this type of woman when alone. N eventually told his wife what happened, and his wife spread the word about my ex to her own family. My ex blew up my phone again, not expecting me to answer the calls this time. The first thing she said was, "You're ruining my life. Everyone around me is turning against me. They're all on your side. Why would you do this to me?" I answered with a simple, "You cheated. I exposed you, so deal with the consequences for the decisions that you made," and hung up the call. Her parent called me a couple minutes later. I told her mother the truth, and I explained to her parents that the evidence is here, is they want and I can prove that her daughter is a liar and a cheater. Eventually, word spread around her friend group of her affair, and all her friends and family slowly started turning against her. They all liked me to begin with, and the fact that I had solid evidence against her made them rethink their relationship with her.
My phone was flooded with apology messages, nonstop phone calls begging me for help to restore her relationships with her friends and family. I declined trying to help. She brought this upon herself. Her family kicked her out of their home. Her friends wanted nothing to do with her. Even A wanted nothing to do with her. I heard from one of her friends she started staying at one of her friends' homes, sleeping on the couch. She ended up getting fired from her job and her car got repossessed. I don't care what anyone thinks if I'd done wrong. I feel like it's payback for all the pain I was put through, and I don't feel sorry for her at all.